Alright, so before you guys give me any hate within the comments, all I want to say is just hear me out, because what I might say might make a bit more sense with the topic. Now, if you can't tell by the topic or the title of the video, I'm here to talk about whether or not the Fast and Furious franchise really did stray away from its roots. And spoiler alert, to be honest, I don't think it did, at least not to the extent that we're giving it. And well, here's why. Okay, so don't get me wrong, I love the Fast and Furious movies. I love the first two movies that everybody wants the Fast and Furious franchise to go back to, and I love the current ones. I have no hate for it. I actually have nothing but love for it. But to be honest, a lot of people who are saying that, oh, Fast and Furious has just gotten to shit and everything, I honestly think that they're just straight hating just to hate. And a big reason for that is because a lot of people truly feel like the Fast and Furious franchise was really just focused on the car scene as a whole. And in my honest opinion, it really wasn't. When you look at Fast and Furious 1 and 2, they were really just prologues to the actual story. Fast and Furious, at least in my opinion, didn't really start becoming a thing story-wise until Fast and Furious 4 and onward. That's when we actually had a proper story, in my opinion. Yes, Fast and Furious 1 and 2 were good. I liked the stories. But again, it just was more of a prologue. It got you introduced to all the characters, how they all felt with one another. You know, that's why in Fast and Furious 4, you understand why Mia and Toretto just feel off toward Brian because of his kind of betrayal in Fast and Furious 1. And then you know why Roman Pierce and Tez have a relationship with Brian O'Connor because of Too Fast, Too Furious. Fast and Furious 1 and 2, pretty much just prologues. And even within those prologues, they still had crazy stuff going on. When I look at it, Fast and Furious, although its foundation was cars, the theme wasn't exactly about car culture. The theme was more so on doing ridiculous stunts with cars. I hope that makes sense, but as I continue to explain, hopefully you guys will understand it more. In Fast and Furious 1, yes, there was a big focus on the car scene, but a lot of that was just because story-wise, Brian O'Connor, who was an undercover cop, and his team were trying to figure out, okay, who is hijacking all these trucks? And they had a lot of evidence that were leaning toward the car scene. That's why there's a lot of focus within the car culture in Fast and Furious 1, was because Brian was trying to figure out, okay, who within the car scene is doing all these hijackings. And so that's why we see so much car culture being shown within Fast and Furious 1. But again, it was never really the key theme. The key theme was to figure out who is doing all these hijacks. And that's why I say the theme is more so on doing ridiculous stunts with cars than the car scene itself, because that's what was going on in Fast and Furious 1. You were constantly seeing hijackings with cars. And then that's why even at the end of Fast and Furious, which it seems to be the thing with all the Fast and Furious movies, there's always that big scene where you're doing something very ridiculous with cars. And for Fast and Furious 1, it was, we're doing our biggest truck hijacking we've ever done, and it just happens to be doing it with cars. Then you had Too Fast, Too Furious, where again, we were back with the car scene. That was because Paul Walker was on the run, and the only thing he really knew was the car scene, so that's why his main focus was going back into car culture. And it was fun, but there wasn't really much focus on the car scene after the beginning where they had that fun little race. After that, it was now, okay, we're trying to take down, I believe he was like a drug lord or whatever you wanna classify the antagonist, but it was just something like drug related, I believe, and it was being like, okay, we need to take down this guy. And that was the big theme with Too Fast, Too Furious, taking down the antagonists with people who were skilled with cars. So that's what was going on there. And like Fast and Furious 1, the big scene ending off the Too Fast and Furious movie was launching the Camaro onto the yacht in order to stop the antagonists. Like Fast and Furious 1, it was doing something ridiculous with cars. Again, cars is the foundation, but doing ridiculous stunts with those cars was the main theme. Tokyo Drift, however, is the only exception. That was honestly the only movie that was actually fully focused on car culture and the drift scene. And that was actually one of my very favorite movies, because during that time I was really getting into drifting. Not like physically, I couldn't drive then, but interest wise, I was watching like a lot of drifting, like the D1 Formula Drift and all that stuff. I thought it was like really freaking cool. So when I saw Tokyo Drift, I'm like, yo, this movie is hella lit. I loved it a lot. And that was the only movie that was actually focused fully on car culture. There wasn't any huge stunt outside of the big drift chase scene that unfortunately had Han die at the end. Spoiler alert if any of you guys haven't seen it yet. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Then we had Fast and Furious 4. And once Fast and Furious 4 hit, that's when we actually started to get the story of Fast and Furious. And like I said, Fast and Furious 1 and Too Fast, Too Furious were more so on the lead up to there, trying to get you to already have that connection with all the characters. You already knew Dominic Toretto, you knew Brian O'Connor, you knew why Toretto kind of had that misguided relationship with O'Connor was because of that betrayal, and why throughout a lot of the beginning he was trying to convince Mia that he's changed and that he's actually a good guy. And like now you understand. And then Fast and Furious 4, yes, it still had a car foundation. It was just more along, okay, now we're going to the theme of doing crazy stuff, which is when they had that big chase scene at the end. Yes, they also had racing involved within the beginning of the movie, trying to get initiated into the drug trafficking or money trafficking, whichever one of the two it was. But that's what was pretty much happening. Still car related, it was just now we're starting to do big things. Fast and Furious 5 is where I believe it really, really took off on doing crazy shit. And it was still cool. Yes, they still had car related stuff. When, no, that wasn't the one where Letty, I don't think that was the one where Letty lost her mind. No, it's Fast and Furious. When did Letty lose her mind, actually? No, it was Fast and Furious 4 when Letty lost her mind, actually. Now, holy crap, I can't remember. When did Letty lose her mind? Letty was presumed dead. Letty was presumed dead in Fast and Furious 4. Fast and Furious 6, she lost her mind. There we go. I remember now. It's been a while since I saw the movies. But then you have Fast and Furious 5, where now the rest of the characters who were introduced in the prologue were being reintroduced into Fast and Furious 5. And now they're doing some crazy shit, taking down the big antagonists of Brazil. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it a lot. But they also had a car-related focus in the beginning when they were trying to figure out, okay, what car can we use to do this big heist? And that's when they had the Porsches, that's when they had the Z's, which I love that scene so much when Toretto was trying to get the Porsche. And I really wish that they showed the race, because that would have been so awesome. But at the same time, just having it to where the Porsche guy was being all cocky and shit, and then ending it off with, we got the car, I thought was still pretty funny. But yeah, they still had a kind of car scene related interest. It was just more so, we're really about, you know, doing crazy shit. Car stuff is still a foundation, but the theme is just, let's do crazy shit, and that's when they did the big heist. Loved it a lot, thought it was pretty cool. Then you had Fast and Furious 6, which is when Letty lost her mind, and they still had the car foundation, and they even had a race between Toretto and Letty, still doing stuff that were involved within Fast and Furious 1, 2, and everything that people were reminiscing about. It's just still, it was like the car scene was just the foundation, the theme. They were still going along with the theme of, yeah, we are still focused on cars, but the theme is, what kind of crazy shit can we do with the cars? And then that's why, you know, they had these very high-tech vehicles flipping any car that the antagonist would cross. And then they also had the tank, which is pretty interesting when they did that. And I believe it was like Fast and Furious 6 was when it was starting to be like, not only were we doing extreme stunts, but you're starting questioning on just the bullshit level that was going on. Because when Toretto kind of jumped between highways onto the tank, or he jumped between highways to catch Letty and ram into a car, I'm just like, cool, but bullshit. But again, that's just what Fast and Furious was, and they knew that, and that's why every movie was constantly one-upping the other. Then, of course, you had Fast and Furious 7, which still to this day I say should have been the perfect way to end the entire franchise, with the send-off of Paul Walker, may he rest in peace. But that was also continuing with the theme of car culture, but we're still gonna do some crazy shit. The crazy shit of that movie, I kind of forgot to mention that Fast and Furious 6 is also crazy bullshit scene, was the takedown of the plane on the longest runway to ever be in existence. Even though, granted, a lot of the scenes that were going on within that were kind of like simultaneously happening. It's just that you can't do like split screens to show you that's happening, so that's why it looks so long. But still, even with that simultaneous stuff, it was still a very long runway. Then we have Fast and Furious 7, which again, we sent off of Paul Walker, but we were also doing some crazy shit there, where we kind of launched a bunch of cars from the sky. Very cool scene. I loved it a lot. For some reason, like when I saw that, I was kind of thinking of the crew, because the cars that were being used, I saw it as like, oh, those are our like raid specs in the crew, so that's what I kind of thought of it as. I don't know, it's just my little thing. I had a little fun with that. And then you also had, if I can remember, oh yeah, the big Dubai jump between not one, not two, but 3 buildings in the Lycan, which was just insane bullshit, but exciting to see. Again, a lot of the focus was still on cars, introducing awesome supercars like the Lycan, but in the end, it was, we're still here to do some crazy shit. Even in the end, when they were like taking on the drone, and Toretto did something crazy. I think he took down like the helicopter or something with the car. I'm like, holy shit, that's insane. That's exactly what you guys are about. Still calling bullshit. Still a lot of fun though. And now you have Fast and Furious 8, where there's still a heavy focus on cars as its foundation, but then obviously, as we see from the trailers, they're going up against a submarine. That's interesting to see. I really want to see how they take this thing down, if they are going to be able to, But again, there's still that foundation of a lot of cars, and that's why there's also one of the scenes where they're walking into like a garage just full of freaking cars. Awesome. I really can't wait to see the movie. It's gonna be hella lit. But I just want to let you guys know that there's still that big theme. In all the movies outside of Tokyo Drift, there was always a theme of doing crazy, insane shit with cars. The only reason why they are showing less and less car scene related stuff is just that Fast and Furious 1 and 2 was more like, the reason why the car scene was a bigger thing was because of the story. And even in the early ones, 2 Fast and Furious didn't have it as much as Fast and Furious 1, but again, that was because of story. We're trying to figure out who in the car scene is hijacking these cars. In 2 Fast 2 Furious, it just wasn't shown as much. So even then, it was showing less and less because that wasn't really the big focus. The big focus was, you know, doing crazy, insane shit with cars. But a lot of people tend to have like that selective memory, thinking that no, it was strictly about the car scene, and then now we've gone away from that. But no, that just wasn't the case. The movies are still great though, and I still love them. Maybe it's because I also love seeing dumb Hollywood effect bullshit. Maybe that's why. But if that's the case, like, to each their own. If you don't like it, if you think maybe we should have just stayed with how Fast and Furious 1 and maybe Tokyo Drift was, sure, that could have still worked. But I feel like if they were planning on continuing the series, you can only attract so many people with that theme. And I think that's another reason why we've gone to where we are now, is because now majority of the people can get into it, rather than just a selective car culture can get into it. Because in the end, it's all about money, and doing what Fast and Furious is doing now, it's just getting them a shit ton of money than if they just stuck it to Tokyo Drift and Fast and Furious 1 and 2. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm now at work, here to, you know, hit at the cages as I always do, because again, I have no life. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.
Make the ground shake.